Hi, folks. This is Pastor David Childers. I'm privileged to pastor Peaceway Christian Center here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My wife and I started this church, can you believe it, in 1985. That's last century. And we have been pastoring here for over 35 years. God has called us to this ministry. Today we need your help in prayers and also in finances. You see, we are called to be a spiritual lighthouse to the lost of Las Vegas. And we are reaching those that desperately need Jesus in one of the most difficult cities in America. So we need your financial support to help us continue producing these online sermons and continue with the many ministries of this church. If you'd like to send us a check, please do so by making the check out to Peaceway Christian Center and send it to 7570 Peaceway, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89147. Help us to continue to minister in the spiritually neediest city in America. Well, God bless you. We hope to hear from you soon. Now let's enjoy this week's sermon as we hear the word of the Lord. Hi, friends. This is Pastor David Childers coming to you from Peaceway Christian Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this sermon is for March 26th, 2023. The sermon title is Understanding How a Slave Girl Reaches a Great Man That is Serving a False God. How a slave girl reaches a great man that is serving a false God. Subtitled is God Considers No One Great, Only Lost or Found. With God, you're either lost or found. Luke 15, the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son. We may talk about that in some other week. Let's go to Scripture, 2 Kings 5, 1 through 17. Now Naaman was the commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Verse 4, Naaman went to his master and told him what the girl from Israel had said. "By all means, go," the king of Aram replied. "I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. And the letter that he took to the king of Israel read this way, "With this letter I'm sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of leprosy? See how he's trying to pick a quarrel with me?" When Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message, "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Well, Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." But Naaman went away angry and said, "I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot, and cure me of leprosy. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" He turned and went off in a rage. Naaman's servants went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you have not done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Wow. So our first point today is this. If you're a slave in a foreign land, consider what God has for you to do while you're there. Consider what God has for you to do while you're a slave in a foreign land. Here's the answer. Become a missionary. This little slave girl had been taken from her home. One day she was a little kid living with her parents in a northern town in Israel, playing, laughing, having fun, doing chores, seeing her other family members and friends. Life was good. And then the Syrians raided her village and took her as a captive and made her a slave. Wow, she could have become bitter and angry with God. She could have hated Naaman. She could have said in her heart, I'm glad he has leprosy. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's destroyed my life, and I hate him for what he's done to me. But instead, this young girl, she became a witness of the one true God. Boy, that is quite extraordinary. That is a miracle in and of itself. She became a miracle on the inside. And then she could share that there is a God in Israel who does miracles, and he has a prophet. So if you're in a bad situation that is unexplainable, that means you didn't do anything that makes you responsible for the place in which you find yourself. Maybe God has you there to be a witness. Forgive, love, be God's love, and God will reward you for sure. You can become a miracle within a miracle. Well, my second point today is this. If you're not a slave in a foreign land, consider what God has for you to do. Well, the answer is become a short-term missionary in a foreign land, like 2 weeks in the 1040 window, which is code for the Muslim world. Now, your reaction to this point should be, I will never do that. Pastor, you're crazy. In fact, I don't like Muslims as a group. And I would mostly agree with your assessment. However, Jesus disagrees with our viewpoint. Here's what Jesus said in Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Friends, when will the end of the age come? When will Jesus come back? Well, when the gospel is preached in all the nations. And in the Greek, that's the word ethne or ethnos, which means people groups. You know, 9/11 happened because God wants us to look at the Muslim world. They need Jesus. And Jesus wants us to focus on them to be found for the purpose of the gospel and not lost. So Jesus will not come back until the nations of the world are reached. So put a P in front of reach and you've got the word preach. Now this includes these 49 nations: Morocco, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iran, Tunisia, Western Sahara, Iraq, Yemen, Mauritania, Mayotte, Maldives, Niger, Comoros, Turkey, Algeria, Palestine, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Jordan, Djibouti, Senegal, Libya, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Egypt, Gambia, Mali, Turkmenistan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, Sudan, Kyrgyzstan, Indonesia, Oman, Guinea, Albania, Sierra Leone, Brunei, United Arab Emirates, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Malaysia, Qatar, Burkina Faso, Lebanon, Chad, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Let's stop here for a moment, if we could, Joseph. Friends, these are the nations of the world that historically have rejected Christianity. But God is concerned about reaching these nations and the many people groups that are in them. And until this happens, Jesus is not coming back. Because he declared in the verse that we just read that the gospel must be preached to all the people groups of the world. And so I want us to be encouraged to look at things differently. May we begin to understand that God is concerned about Muslims being lost. And he wants them to be found. He wants them to be given the opportunity to receive Christ. And the only way that happens is if we're willing to go. And there is a group that I'll be talking about in a moment. And last year they sent 4,000 short-term missionaries. 2 weeks was the length into the 1040 window in the Muslim world. Well, if you want life to be found, Jesus said, then you need to lose your life to him. Matthew 16 and following, Jesus gives his disciples a riddle. If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. So if your life is empty, you are saving your life for yourself. I want to say that again. If your life is empty, you are saving your life for yourself. If you want it to be fulfilled, you must give it away. And I would say, minimum for a 2-week missionary adventure. Now, if you're older, you will probably not go on a 2-week short-term missionary trip in a Muslim world. But you can help encourage others by talking about the importance of doing this to reach the people groups that are in these nations, and maybe helping to support someone that may go. Now, you may need to start this process by going to a meeting called Vision School, which starts again this fall. And you can call me at 702-738-6032 if interested. Yes, there's a cost involved, and if you cannot pay it, we will try to help. The Vision School is for 9 Mondays or 9 Tuesdays or whatever they pick. The school is available for adults and youth and Christian and children. And the cost is not more than $150 for adults and around, I think, $120 or $130 for the youth and the children. If you really, really want to go, money is not the issue. We will help to find it. The money you pay helps to pay for the international speakers that come each week to speak about what God is doing in their sphere of influence in the 1040 window. So when we get excited about what God is excited about, then our life will come alive. Jesus said, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Friends, I close with this. Every time I think about the Muslim world, the Muslims in the 1040 window, I cry. May God help us to care for the souls that are there, that he cares about. And he is wanting us to reach out I promise you, if we give our life up, at least for 2 weeks, and at least for this vision school that I could tell you about, if we do it and we go, our life will forever be changed. I cry when I think about the Muslims in the 1040 window, because I'm plugged into the heart of God. And this is kind of a new step that we're taking, a pivot, if you will. And if you want to be a part of it, please reach out to me and get a hold of me, 702-738-6032. God bless you. Have a great week in the Lord. And the next 2 Sundays are Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday. We're looking forward to a great time. God bless you. This is Pastor David Childers from Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's get concerned about what the heart of God is concerned about. And we'll see you soon. God bless you.